new character variants from across the Marvel Comics universe's multiverse entered into the world of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but none of them lasted for long, mainly because of the rampage of the Scarlet Witch. Her victim list stretches far and wide. For a look at this and a whole lot of other interesting news from the Multiverse of Madness, keep watching. First up, the victims list and how that shook things up. Earth 838's entire Illuminati council featured on the Scarlet Witch's list, and their demise opened the door for Lashana Lynch's comeback as Captain Marvel version 2.0. And this is a comeback that is bound to excite everyone. Lynch was originally cast in the role of Maria Rambeau, Carol Danvers' best friend. That was in the 2019 Captain Marvel, but Lynch got an unexpected opportunity to make a comeback in Doctor Strange 2, and she does so by the side of variants the likes of Captain Carter, Hayley Atwell, and Reed Richards, John Krasinski. This Captain Marvel's fight back was better than that of the other members of the Illuminati, but in the end, Wanda's power proved too much to handle. The Scarlet Witch took Maria out of the equation by dropping a giant statue on her. Now, Lynch breaks her silence about her return to the MCU. She was upfront about everything, saying she really didn't expect the return before it actually happened. In fact, she already knew about her fate before WandaVision showed it. She called it a wild ride. The way she tells it, Kevin Feige, the Marvel Studios president, messaged her to let her know of Maria's end in the story. Other characters had spoken about everything on WandaVision, which had at least prepared her and given her some context. Apparently, Lynch was told about characters like hers returning through the multiverse in a phone call with a producer, and that was followed up by news that she'd be returning as a hero. A producer on the Captain Marvel project put a call through to her to let her know of the idea the production team had to bring new versions of old characters back to the story. They were thinking about bringing Maria back too. Immediate thought was that her character would be brought back as an ancestor or something along those lines. She never realized how creative the production team was about to get. She was blown away when she heard she was coming back as Captain Marvel, and for Lynch, things just got crazier. She also hinted at the insanity of the experience and finding out the details of the plot on Zoom. Benedict Cumberbatch, Patel Ejiofor, and Hayley Atwell were all part of the call, where the story and characters were discussed for the first time. Stay with us, we're going to be looking at the seismic behind-the-scenes shifts at Doctor Strange 2. Meanwhile, there are seismic shifts behind the scenes. There was an almost seismic shift behind the scenes in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Scott Derrickson, the original director, left the project. Sam Raimi, who directed the Spider-Man trilogy, took his place. This resulted in changes to the MCU sequel all the way through development. Last-minute changes had a multiverse-hopping sequence between America Chavez and Doctor Strange end in a hallway instead of on top of a roof. The president of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, had changes of his own in mind. He suggested the memorable music battle between Sinister Strange and MCU's Strange be simplified to something more like Bach versus Beethoven. Keep watching for the scenes Benedict Cumberbatch changed in the final edit. Next, Cumberbatch talks about playing Sinister Strange. Firstly, Cumberbatch, with a smile, said he had a lot of fun playing in this film. He couldn't speak about everything pre-press, nor could he divulge any of the really exciting things that were happening. He specifically mentioned how much he enjoyed acting opposite himself. It gave him scope to really flex his creative muscles, but also provided the kind of challenge he was hungry for. And he gave away which scenes he urged the producers to change. Cumberbatch revealed in an interview that he actually wrote some of the scenes in Strange 2, and also suggested changes to scenes, things that Raimi and writer Michael Waldron actually embraced. Cumberbatch was actually allowed to don a pen and write a few of the scenes himself. He specifically wanted the interaction between Strange and Sinister Strange to take on a darker dynamic. Initially, it was all too saccharine for his liking. Luckily, he got buy-in and support from Raimi and Michael Waldron. Because of this, the small friction between Strange and Sinister changed into something bizarre and ultra creative. Cumberbatch is known for immensing himself in every character he portrays. His process, he says, is all about forgetting himself when he's in front of the camera and simply being the character. He employs method acting techniques, much like great actors like Sir Anthony Hopkins does. When he plays Doctor Strange, he added, he goes slightly insane. When he's in front of the camera connecting with the on-page material, he forgets himself. He quite literally becomes the character. He does, however, also laughingly explain the mental health hazards that come with switching personas so often when on set. In a moment, the Scarlet Witch will speak about Krasinski's MCU debut. Stay with us. Also, critics say Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange 2 changes made the sequel better. Cumberbatch himself says that he loves doing scenes with himself himself, and he's good at it too. This could well point to more variants of Doctor Strange showing up in future stories. The possibilities are only limited by the imaginations of the creators. Besides, the final cut proved that the dark atmosphere Cumberbatch initiated in his encounter with Sinister Strange worked like a charm. It gave the character a much more intense vibe. It also proves the actor and character are fast becoming one. Cumberbatch knows his stuff. This is a true advantage because Strange is destined to be a huge part of the multiverse saga going forward. Now, the Scarlet Witch shares details about Krasinski's MCU debut. Elizabeth Olsen, who plays the Scarlet Witch, had a sit-down interview in which she spoke about her part in the MCU, and also her comments about working with John Krasinski in the Multiverse of Madness. She clarified that she'd not met John Krasinski, and that all their scenes were filmed separately. This will be the way scenes will be filmed in the MCU going forward, it seems. And to get the lowdown on the Infinity War death scenes, keep watching till the end. She also touched on her work in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. It's astonishing how much effort the studios put into preventing story leakage. Olsen explained that she often knew nothing more about the day's filming than just the scenes she had to prepare. According to her, she got the pages for her scenes and that was it. She knew her character and the part of the story she had to tell on the day. When she was asked if she could ever read the entire script if she wanted to, she said that would involve going into a specific office at the studio, reading it on a specific iPad, and with a security guard in the room with her. And she then spoke about the Infinity War death scenes. The secrecy of the franchise even extends onto the set. It's all about preventing spoilers, it seems. So much so, not even the actors are kept fully in the loop. The death scenes in Infinity War were called The Wedding on the schedule. Nobody knew they were getting blipped until they stepped on the set. Chris Hemsworth, Chadwick Boseman, Scarlett Johansson, and Sebastian Stan were all in a van when they were told their characters were about to disappear. Everybody was flabbergasted. Up to that point, they thought the film had a different ending. Finally, is a meeting between Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch and Mr. Fantastic on the cards. Pity Elizabeth Olsen couldn't meet John Krasinski personally on the set of Multiverse of Madness. These two stars on set at the same time could have made for incredible behind-the-scenes chemistry, but the way it went down, with Sam Raimi and the crew filming Krasinski and Olsen scenes separately, shows how strict Marvel Studios are about spoilers. And this includes keeping their actors on a need-to-know basis. It's possible to posit that the separation when filming could affect the actor's performance, but the end product shows it isn't necessarily so. The actors work perfectly well with the stand-ins when on set. Of course, there's also the argument that filming scenes separately may have more to do with schedule alignment than with spoiler preservation. Who knows? But phases 5 and 6 are moving forward, and this technique will most probably be fully utilized by directors and producers in productions like The Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars 2. To end this video, even though Olsen and Krasinski didn't have an opportunity to meet on the set of Multiverse of Madness, the actress who shone so brightly as the Scarlet Witch will probably bump into the actor whose Reed Richards entertained us all. And we hope more scenes between Reed Richards and Wanda Maximoff are on the cards. Something that will be a more positive encounter than the grim battle of Doctor Strange 2. That's it for now, folks. Remember to be on the lookout for our next upload.